I will be creative. Grab the gears, let's gather round, an adventure is always waiting. This storytelling means for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of our radio listeners or viewers via Von Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel, and welcome to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education and Talent, and we are so pleased to be here with you today. We have with us some guests. You'll meet them a little later on, but from the onset, I want to remind everybody that this weekend is a big weekend for us here within the ministry. We have the Bank of Nevis Limited High School's championship happening this weekend right here at the Nevis Athletic Stadium, and we're giving away a few tickets for today's competition. Okay, it's a two-day meet, as I stated. We have competing Charlestown Secondary, Gingerland Secondary, Nevis International Secondary has a combined team with the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, and then we have the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School as our guest participants for this weekend. And so we know that it promises to be a very interactive, very action-packed meet. Persons have been asking what today's events look like and whether it's just field events, and no, it will be a combination of track events and field events. And so we encourage you all to go on out to support the teams as they go through this two-day meet. So this morning we're going to see in just about 2 hours, we'll have some preliminary runs or preliminary races for the 200 meters. We'll start with those at 11 a.m. So we'll have the 200 meter prelims, and we'll have them in each category. We know the categories are under 14, under 16, under 18, and under 20. Then we'll go into the finals for the 100 meters, 100 meter hurdles, male and female, the under 18 and under 20 categories. We'll then go into the 800 meter run. So you're seeing a fair mixture of events. After the 800 meter runs, simultaneously, we'll be seeing at 11 this morning, javelin throw. 12 or thereabout, we'll see the high jump starting. We'll also have about 1 o'clock the shot put events and long jump events. So your track events, as I said, include the 100 meter prelim, the 200 meter prelims, the 100 meter hurdles, the 110 hurdles, the 800 meter hurdles. So we'll see those happening during the course of the day today. So we'll have some hurdles, we'll have some we'll have some preliminaries, and we'll have some final events happening, and that's what's going on for today. Tomorrow you can look out for the 100 meter prelims. Then the 100 meter events will take place later in the day. We will see the 60 meter hurdles, we'll see the 400 meter dash, and these will be finals. We'll see the 1200 meters, we'll see the 1500 meters, and then of course, as I said, the 100 meter dash and the 4x4 relays. So today we'll have a fair number of events, and tomorrow we will see the same level of events happening, a mixture of track events and field events happening today. So if you want to catch the 200 meter dash, you have to be there today. If you want to catch the 800 meters, you'll have to be there today as well. I know that we're all looking out for those events, and those that's when it gets very exciting for most of us, and we love to see the high intensity of the short races. So come on out, and you'll have some sprint events today. You'll also have some tomorrow. You don't want to miss, because if you miss, you'll miss out on some of these events. We also have a few tickets, as I said, to give away for today, because we want to make sure that we have your faces in the place. The prices, let me go through the prices for the event as well. For those who are purchasing your tickets, you can buy a ticket separate ticket for each day, or a bundle ticket option exists as well. So you have for the weekend, you have the single option, because the bundle took place during the week. So today, if you're buying a ticket for today, adults $15, high schoolers $10, children under 12 $5, and inside parking is $30. And then tomorrow, adults will be $20, high schoolers $15, children under 12 $10, and inside parking remains at $30. So as I said, come out and support the students, and we look forward to a great weekend of competition. The event is sponsored by the Bank of Nevis Limited, and so we'll start right there. We have a few questions. As I said, want to give away a few tickets, complimentary tickets for today's event. So the tickets are for entrance or access to the meet today. Question 1. Give the date, meaning the day, month, and year when the Bank of Nevis commenced operations on Nevis. Give the date, that's the day, month, and year when the Bank of Nevis commenced operations on Nevis, and please make sure that you can collect your ticket by 10 a.m. Right here at the studio, because it gets a little bit difficult after that to get to you. We'll be in full logistics mode after this show. So please give the date, that is the day, month, and year when the Bank of Nevis commenced operations on Nevis. 469-1616, 469-1700. Give the day, month, and year when the Bank of Nevis commenced operations on Nevis, and have a chance to win access to the meet today. 469-1616. 469-1700. Oh my, that one seems to be a bit hard. Let me give you the second question. I'll give you the second question, which is, what is the Bank of Nevis's motto? What is the Bank of Nevis's motto? 469-1616. 469-1700. So we have two options right now. The date, that's the day, month, and year when the Bank of Nevis commenced operations on Nevis. And we have the second question, what is the Bank of Nevis's motto? And I think those are very important bits of information for us to know about our sponsor as we promote this event this weekend. The Bank of Nevis has invested in this event for the past 5 years, and we want to thank them for that as well. Okay, so I'll give the questions one more time, and then I'll have to leave them on the table until after. Maybe I'll have to take the tickets back to the stadium with me and see if I can find some persons to give, because we might not have anyone who can answer the questions. I didn't think they were that difficult. Give the date, that's the day, month, and year when the Bank of Nevis commenced operations on Nevis. And question 2, what is the Bank of Nevis's motto? What is the Bank of Nevis's motto? All right, so we're placing those there. When we come back, we will meet our guests, but as of now, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past this quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Whoa, let's go. I will learn new things. I I will be creative. Grab the gears, let's gather round, and adventure is always waiting. The storytelling means for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa. Let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
All right, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers via Von Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel, and welcome to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. We are here this morning. We started off trying to give some tickets away, and I understand that we have a caller, so we will hold on introducing the guests, and we will take the first caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
Wonderful. Which question would you like to answer?
The second one.
Okay, what is Bank of Nevis's motto?
Improving the quality of life.
Improving the quality of life. Correct. What's your name?
Shoulder hugging.
All right. Would you be able to collect the ticket before 10 this morning or by 10?
I should. Can I?
Okay, so I'll let you go to Melissa, and she
Okay.
will take your number, and then we can reach out after the show if there's anything.
All right.
Okay. All right, so thank you very much, Miss Huggins. And so Miss Huggins won the first ticket. We still have the second ticket up for grabs. And the question for those who missed it was, or is, give the date, and that is the day, month, and year when the Bank of Nevis commenced operations on Nevis. Give the date, that's the day, month, and year when the Bank of Nevis commenced operations on Nevis. Bank of Nevis's motto, improving the quality of life. All right, so we have some special guests today, and it is always a pleasure to have our ambassadors here. Oop, okay. Somebody wants a ticket. Good morning. Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Okay, good morning. I'm hearing you now.
Okay, the Bank of Nevis was opened on the 9th of December, 1985.
That is very correct. What is your name?
My name is Jan Grelhall.
Okay, Miss Grelhall.
Thank you so much.
Would you be able to collect the ticket by 10 this morning from Von
I
Radio?
can get by 10.
Okay, so I'll give you a call after.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye.
All right. So we are here, as I said, we have some special guests. We've tried so many times to introduce them. They're so important, but we've had to pause for a cause. So we have our ambassadors here with us today, and we will allow them to introduce themselves. They'll let us know exactly who they are.
My name is Adrian Douglas, and I represent the St. James's Primary School.
Thank you very much. And who's our second ambassador?
My name is Malia Blake, and I represent the St. James Primary School.
Wonderful. So we have Adrian, we have Malia with us this morning, and they are our disaster management ambassadors, the second round of ambassadors for this year. And today we will be talking about a particular hazard, and that is the landslide. And we know that each month we spend some time, we have partnered with the Nevis Disaster Management Department, and we spend some time highlighting and spreading awareness in relation to some form of natural disaster or some form of hazard. And the St. James Primary School has been assigned the landslide. So we'll talk a bit about the landslide, and of course we want our listeners to listen keenly so that they can make sure that they are properly prepared and informed and educated around this particular hazard. Remember, any hazard can affect us here on Nevis, and when we take the time out to spend time and share the information, it's because it's very important for young ones, for middle-aged ones, for older ones to be aware of what happens around us, as well as how we should respond. All right, so question 1. What are at risk of landslides? What areas are at risk of landslides? Tell us the areas which are at risk of having landslides.
Number 1. Areas where wildfires or human modification of the land have destroyed vegetation. Number 2. Areas where landslides have occurred before. Number 3. Steep slopes and areas at the bottom of slopes or canyons. And number 4. Slopes that have been altered for construction of buildings and roads.
Okay, so we've gotten from Malia 4 key areas where we can expect, or areas which may be at risk for landslides. Malia, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor because we're going to go through them again, dissecting them. I want to make sure everybody understands. And while Malia is speaking, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we should visualize. Do we know any area that can fall into any of these categories? All right, Malia, let's go through them again.
Number 1. Areas where wildfires or human modification of the land have destroyed vegetation. Number 2. Areas where landslides have occurred before. Number 3. Steep slopes and areas at the bottom of slopes or canyons. Number 4. Slopes that have been altered for construction of buildings and roads.
Perfect. Thank you, Malia. And so, boys and girls, I hope you visualized. Can we think of any area that what was human modification of land look like and that may have destroyed vegetation? What can humans do that would cause destruction of the vegetation? Can y'all think of any? What can we, not necessarily boys and girls, but especially adult humans, they can use some big machines to modify land, right? What are some of those big machines? Excavators, good. So backhoes. So when you see that, sometimes they have to dig up areas and remove the vegetation, and then of course the structure changes a bit, and so those areas are at risk for that as well. And as you saw, the areas that have been altered for construction, which is pretty much the same thing, because once you're going to construct or build, you generally tend to get your backhoe or your excavator out to make sure that you have some modification to the land as well. Okay, Adrian, what are the causes of landslides? What are some of the causes of landslides?
Causes of landslides are heavy rainfall, erosion, and earthquake shaking.
Okay, perfect. So let's have a little conversation again. Do we experience heavy rainfall sometimes? Yes. So that is something that we have to pay attention to. So imagine on a slope, we have the excavator and the backhoe digging and modifying the land, and then we have like 3 weeks of non-stop heavy rainfall. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. And so these are the things, listeners, that we have to pay attention to. They might seem a little bit, normal, but if the conditions are right, Malia gave us the first part, Adrian helped us with the second part. If your conditions are right, you have greater risk for landslides. Okay, let's go back to you, Malia. How do landslides affect us? How do landslides affect us?
Number 1. Landslides can damage our homes. Number 2. Landslides can cause injury and death. And number 3. It can damage the roadway.
All right. So once again, listeners, very important information. And over to you, Adrian. How can one protect themselves from landslides? How can we protect ourselves from landslides?
If you live in a landslide-prone area, be alert. Particularly during periods of heavy rainfall or after a wildfire. If you see signs of a landslide or suspect a landslide may occur, you must decide to evacuate.
Okay, wonderful. So evacuation is very important, listeners, but you have to be alert, you have to be aware, you have to know what's happening around you. And if you have been listening this morning, you are in a great position to have that level of awareness. Okay, so what is the best source of information in a landslide situation? What is the best source of information in a landslide situation? Malia?
Call the Nevis Disaster Management Office 469-1423 and its website www.ndmd.kn and social media ndmd.kn, Nevis TV and Van Radio before landslide.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about before landslide, okay? And Adrian, what should we do before intense storms or heavy rainfalls?
We should create an all-hazard supply kit and communication plan. Learn whether landslides or debris flow have occurred previously in your area of Department of Planning. Contact the Navy Disaster Management about emergency and evacuation plans. If you live in an area exposed to landslides, consider leaving it.
Okay, so it's wise then for you to be once again alert and aware. And you see how all of the bits of information that you've shared before connect? So we have to be alert and aware of what the conditions are. So, you realize that Adrian came back to it and he said make sure that you are aware of whether landslides have happened in your area before. And he also shared with us where you should go to find out that information if you're not so sure. Where do we go? Just in case our listeners missed it. In the second point, where should we go to find out if landslides or debris flows have occurred previously in our area?
The Nevis Disaster Management.
The Nevis Disaster Management can help you. There's another department that can help you as well.
Department of Planning.
Perfect. All right. So, next question, Malia. And this is the final question before the break, and then we'll break right after Malia. We finish this question, and we'll return after. Okay, Malia. What should we do during intense storms and heavy rainfall? So we learned what we should do before. What should we do during?
Number 1. Obtain your all-hazard supply kit and communication plan. Number 2. Stay tuned to local radio or television stations for information and instructions from local health officials. Number 3. Look for tilted trees, telephone poles, fences or walls, and no holes or bare spots on hillsides. Number 4. Listen for rumbling sounds that might indicate an approaching landslide or mud flow.
All right, so basically we have all the information there. Once again, you have to be very alert, boys and girls, mommies and daddies and uncles and aunties and everyone listening. We have to be alert, we have to be observant, we have to make sure we're paying keen attention. What are we looking for? We're looking outside to see if any of the trees that were nice and upright are now
Tilted.
We're looking to see if our telephone poles and electricity poles and all the poles outside which were nice and outright seem to have tilted. Right? Fences, walls, and just all of those things you're looking. And if you weren't observant before the landslide, it will be more difficult for you to notice. So you have to be aware and alert. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with Adrian as we continue with the sharing of information around landslides.
When VON vibrates, the whole Caribbean must shake.
860 AM, the powerhouse.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know, we're gonna have a great time. An hour passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. Youth on the go, whoa, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go, whoa, let's start the show. Whoa, let's go. I will learn new things, I will be creative. Grab the gears, let's gather around, and adventure is always waiting. The storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go, whoa, let's start the
morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers, via Von Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Welcome to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education and Talent. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today, and even more of a pleasure to be here with our disaster management ambassadors for landslides from the St. James Primary School. We have with us Miss Malia Blake. We have with us Mr. Adrian Douglas, and they have been sharing some very important information. Just before the break, Malia started to tell us a bit about what we should do during a landslide, and Adrian is going to continue because he has a bit more to share for just in terms of what we should do during intense storms and heavy rainfall. Go ahead, Adrian.
Be alert when driving. Roads may become blocked or closed due to collapsed pavement or debris. If a landslide or debris throw danger is imminent, quickly move away from the path of a slide. Move to the nearest high ground in the direction away from the path.
Okay, so good advice. If it's coming to you, if a landslide is coming towards you, do you run into it? Malia and Adrian, do you go head on into it? No. So boys and girls, if the land is sliding, you're seeing an obvious shift of the land, you don't go into it, especially during all these conditions that we talked about. But you try to go move away from that path. You also try to get to the nearest high ground away from the direction of the path. So once again, move away and get to the highest place, which is not within the space of the landslide. Adrian, you think we have one more to add?
If rocks or debris are approaching, run for the nearest shelter and take cover. If possible, under a desk, table, or other pieces of sturdy furniture.
Okay, so if you're at school and you're having a major shift in landslide, if you're at home in the land, and you're experiencing that major shift, you have to go somewhere where there's something sturdy enough to protect you, boys and girls. And in a setting such as your school setting, it will be your desk or table, because you each have your individual desks and tables. If you have in your homes sturdy pieces of furniture, a sturdy bed, a sturdy table, your dining room table, that in case, because the idea is that in case the landslide causes build up and it gets into your space and it has to cover you in any way, that you have some way to be protected under it, and something that's sturdy so that it doesn't collapse under the weight, okay, of the mud or the mudslide. All right, so after we've experienced a landslide or mudslide, what should happen next? Malia.
Number 1. Stay away from the site. Flooding or additional slides may occur after the early landslide or mud flow. Number 2. Check for injured or trapped people near the affected area, if it is possible to do so without entering the path of the landslide or mud flow.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Malia. And Adrian, give them the last bits of advice when it comes to what should we do after a landslide or a mudslide.
You should listen to Van Radio, NTV, and Nevis Disaster Management social media pages for the latest emergency information. All
right, so basically what Adrian has underscored and repeated for us boys and girls is that you just don't listen to any gossip from anybody on the street, right? There are some credible sources that you should check or listen to or follow to make sure that the information that you get is accurate or correct. Those include Von Radio, NTV, and the Nevis Disaster Management's social media pages. And the reason for that, boys and girls, moms and dads and everyone else, is that the Nevis Disaster Management will be sharing information with these sources. So when you hear it from them, it's correct. It's not somebody, because have you ever heard of fake news? That people make things up and just put it out there that might not be true? Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Yes, and so there will be instances, or there can be instances where people put things out that are not true. So you have to make sure that you find credible sources that have been identified by the Nevis Disaster Management Department for giving out information or sharing of information to you, our boys and girls, and all of our listeners as well. And we even have social media access, because I know that our younger listeners love social media, and so you as long as it doesn't cause any technology outages, you should be able to also get the information on social media as well. And so boys and girls, I think we've covered a lot about landslides. We don't generally hear a lot about landslides and mudslides on a normal basis. We hear a lot more about the other hazards. We might hear a lot about tsunamis. We might hear a lot about hurricanes. There are some hazards that we hear about more than others. However, based on the information shared by our St. James Primary ambassadors, you realize it's equally important to be aware of what could happen during a landslide, before a landslide, during and after, and how to respond properly. Alright, so we're going to give some advice. We're going to allow Adrian and Malia to think about what has been shared this morning, and if you had to remind people of anything that was shared, what would you choose to remind them of? Or what are one of the things that stands out for you? Either one of you can go first. Adrian is giving a ladies first look. Malia, what is one thing that was shared this morning that you want people to remember as it relates to a landslide? Or what is one thing that you remember that you want to share? Either one. Okay, Adrian, you ready? While Malia is thinking?
Yes.
Okay, Adrian is ready while Malia is thinking. Go ahead, Adrian.
Should always be alert. You should always be alert when driving, because the road can be blocked and debris can be in it.
Okay, good. So you should always be alert when you're driving. Well, parents, when you're driving, and children, when you're in the vehicle, you can help your parents by looking around and making sure you're alert. You can't go on full speed, because you can run into some debris. You can damage your car. So many things can happen as a result if you're not alert. So pay keen attention. Okay, Malia, anything that stood out for you that you want to share?
Yes.
Okay. What do you want to share?
You should look out for tilted trees and telephone poles and buildings.
Yes, so any tilts, anything that was nice and upright or shifted position, that's something you should look out for, because it sends a strong message. It says beware without speaking, right? That something went wrong there. Thank you so much for sharing that. One of the things that stood out for me is the importance of a communication kit, right? And I always highlight this because I want parents, children, whether we're at school or at home, to think about making sure that we build a communication kit, making sure that we have something in place that if we need to leave, we can grab it. To make sure that we have a communication plan. What happens if you are at school and your parents are at home or at work and a disaster occurs? What happens if, and these are the things that you should have parents and children, and I ask you to be ambassadors and go back to your homes and back to your schools and say, it's time for us to put our plan together. If something goes wrong, how do we respond? Not as an island, but as a class in our schools, or as a family within our homes. And as I said, what happens if we are somehow separated or in two different places? Because guess what, Adrian and Malia, a disaster can happen at any time, right? It could happen when we're in school. We don't want that to happen, but it's possible. It could happen when we are at different events, different functions, and so we always have to have a plan, right? And what happens if we're all at home and we need to get out. And so you need to have these conversations about the various hazards, as well as how would we respond should there be a disaster. And that's our communication plan. And then of course we have to have our kit. And the kit is important as well, because we have to have some key things that we can grab and run with. What are some of the things we need to make sure that we have in a place that we can grab and run with should there be an emergency? And sometimes you don't have the time to grab. Sometimes you just have to go. What are some of the things that we can make sure that we have that are very important, that we don't want to leave behind if we can take them with us?
A first aid kit.
First aid kit. Why would we need a first aid kit in the event of an emergency? Because?
Just in case somebody gets injured.
Perfect. Just in case somebody gets injured, you have to have a first aid kit, right? And there's some key things in the first aid kit. Anything else you would want to make sure you have some of in case you have to run and go? Grab and go? Just in case? First aid kit is a really good one. I think if I had to build one, I would put in a few small non-perishable food items. I don't know. I don't think I want to starve if I can help it. But that's me. It's not mandatory. The first aid kit is a mandatory one. Anything else?
A flashlight.
A flashlight might be a good one, because sometimes you might get buried under something. In the case of a landslide or mudslide, and you might need, or the power might go, depending on what's happening, and so you need to have a flashlight. So that's a great one. Anything else that we might need to want to have? At least small samples of? That might take us through a day or two until someone gets to us.
Food.
Yeah, we have the food. Yeah, and well, you can't just, you can't pack some sliced cheese and stuff, right? Because they're gonna go bad, and you're trying to when you pack your kits, you want to make sure that you have them packed in advance. And I'm not saying to take a suitcase. Small samples, things that you can grab and run. But so the food, Adrian, would have to be non-perishable items, mostly canned food, right? Okay, what else? Okay, for those, especially younger people, won't think about this one too much. But for older persons especially, they might have some medications, some medicines that they need to keep them healthy, or to manage some form of a disease. And so they would have to make sure that they have those medicines with them. Okay, so those are the things that when you have the conversations at home, that you talk to your parents and guardians about. Okay, are there well, we're going to close off this segment, so I just want to know, is there anyone you want to say a special good morning to before we close out, or hello or hi, and then we can allow our ambassadors to close out their section. Anybody you want to say good morning to or hello?
Say good morning to my sister and good morning to my parents.
All right, wonderful. Malia, anybody you want to say good morning to? Oh, but I didn't let you say what their names are, Adrian. Sorry, Malia, before I get to you. So you have to tell persons who your parents are and who your sisters are.
My sisters, Akila Douglas and Ajane Douglas, and my parents, Abigail Douglas and Adrian Douglas.
Okay, wonderful. Malia, anybody you want to say good morning to?
Good morning to my neighbors, my mother's friends, and my mother.
All right. So I don't think you can list all of your neighbors and your mother's friends, but let's say good morning to your mother. Can you tell us what your mother's name is?
My mother's name is Carolyn Blake.
All right, wonderful. So parents, thank you so much for having them, and I also want to join you in saying good morning to your principal and your teachers there at the St. James's Primary School. All right, thank you all for being awesome ambassadors, and we look forward to hearing from you throughout the time, and we look forward to you sharing the information with the students at your school as well as across the island. We'll take a short break, listeners, viewers. When we come back, I think we'll give away a few more tickets when we return from the break.
Sugar City St. Kitts, keep it sweet. Keep listening to Vaughn.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now it passes quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's you on the go. Who's on the go? Whoa, let's start the show. Oh, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather around, and adventure is always waiting. The storytelling means for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Youth on the go. Whoa, let's start the show. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers via Von Radio's Facebook page and YouTube channel, and welcome to this edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. I am Zahnela Claxton from the Ministry of Education and Talent, and we are here this morning. We had an interaction with our disaster management ambassadors from the St. James's Primary School in the persons of Adrian Douglas and Malia Blake. We also have been sharing a bit about what's happening this weekend as it relates to the championship. And so the high schools are, well, they should be just about arriving on their way to the stadium because the first event starts at 11. We have the prelims at 11, the preliminary events for the 200-meter race, and then later today we will have the 200-meter finals. So the top eight athletes from the preliminary round will advance to the finals, and so we're looking forward to seeing that and seeing who those persons are. Remember, today you can look out for the javelin throw happening, and we'll have simultaneous things happening. So while the javelin throw is happening, we'll also have the 200-meter dash happening for all of the categories. We also will see the high jump happening today, long jump, shot put, all of those are happening during the course of the day today. Simultaneously, we will have the 100-meter hurdles happening for girls, the 110-meter hurdles for boys. We'll have the 800-meter races happening as well. So those are some of the, and then as I said, you will have the 200-meter events occurring. I want to believe the 4x1 is also happening today, and so please, listeners, know that for today we will have a mixture of track events and field events happening during the course of the day. I know that in the past, many years ago, in fact, we had solely the field events on one day and the track events another, and persons generally have in mind that that's the way it still is. That is not the way it is. We will have the events happening simultaneously, so you will have some track events happening at the same time as the field events, and they've been spread across both days so that we are aware and we can support the track events as well as the field events. So go on out and support our athletes as they participate in the various events. It will be a meet that you would definitely enjoy, and the 4x1s are happening this evening, this afternoon from around 5 o'clock. You'll have your 4x1s. I am correct. So you're going to see 2 sets of sprints or 3 sets of sprint type events happening today. The 200 meters are on there. The 4x1 relays are on there. The 100 meter hurdles, the 110 meter hurdles will be happening today. Okay, for those, because I know persons will come tomorrow and they'll say, oh, I thought today is the 4x1. No, the 4x1s are happening this afternoon. And in that note, in that vein, I think it's time to give away some more tickets before we run out of time. I want to give people some thinking time. So, please, listeners, viewers, you can call us at 469-1616, 469-1700. And you can let us know the names of the patrons. Name the patrons for this edition of the Bank of Nevis Limited High Schools Championship. Name the patrons and let us know which school they represented when they were students, when they were student athletes. So give us the names of the patrons and let us know which school they represented when they were student athletes, when they were high schoolers. 469-1616, 469-1700. 469-1616, 469-1700. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm at Makita Secondary School. I'm at Cleveland Watkins, Secondary School.
All right, you're halfway there. I won't tell you which half of the way, but you're halfway there. So give us a call back and let us know. Think about it for a minute and then let us know the other half of the information. As I said, I wouldn't say which half is correct. Okay? So for those listening, please let us know the names of the patrons for this weekend's event, this weekend's meet, and let us know the school or schools they attended as high school athletes. Okay? Let us know the names of the patrons and the schools they represented as high school student athletes. 469-1616, 469-1700. 469-1616, 469-1700. All right, and then the next question, because I'm going to give two as I did in the previous round. What are the categories for this weekend's event? What are the categories? So we know that we have males and females, boys and girls, but I want you to tell me the specific categories that exist for the meet this weekend. And I'm going to give you a hint. There are 4 categories. Okay? So the numbers to call: 469-1616, 469-1700. What are the categories for this weekend's events? As I said, there are male and female categories as well, and there are, so the answer I'm looking for, there should be 4 categories listed, and that's your hint, so to keep us on track. Question 3: name the patrons for this weekend's meet. Name the patrons for this weekend's meet and let us know the school or schools they represented as high school student athletes. 469-1616, 469-1700. I thought that one would have been an easy one. Give us the names of the patrons for this weekend's event and let us know the school or schools they represented as student athletes. While you're thinking about it, I want to take the opportunity once again to say thank you to the Bank of Nevis Limited, who has come on board time and time again to sponsor this meet 5 times around, sharing with investing in our student athletes and really ensuring that they are doing their part to improve the quality of life. That, of course, is the motto, and that question was won by Shelda Huggins, who called earlier and shared the motto of the Bank of Nevis with us. So, name the patrons? Okay, we have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, great.
Makita Challenger
Okay.
and McLevan Watkins. Makita attended St. James Primary School and McLevan attended Marquardt Secondary School.
Okay, those answers are correct, but in terms of what primary schools they went to, but I want to know what high schools they went to, since it's the high schools championship. Okay, can you give me that part? So you have to think about it for a bit. Okay, all right, so let me repeat. Name the patrons for this year's Bank of Nevis Limited High Schools Championship, and also let us know the school or schools, high school or schools which they attended as student athletes. So our previous caller was correct in identifying their primary schools, but we would like to know the high school they attended. Okay, 469-1616, 469-1700. I didn't think it would be this tough to give away some tickets for this weekend. We're almost out of time, and the question 2 that's on the table is what are the categories for this weekend's event? And there are they're divided into male and female categories, but I'm looking for the broader heading, the 4 of them. There are 4 of them. If you can let us know what they are. Once again, just about give 1 more minute or so towards allowing persons to call in for these 2 questions. And this weekend we can look forward to a lot of excitement happening at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. We have several events, and starting at 11 a.m. Okay, we have a call on the line. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, do you have which question would you like to answer?
I would like to answer the patrons.
Okay, the question about the patrons.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
The Makina Challenger, she went to St. James Primary School, and the Makina Challenger, the high school she went to is Jingaland.
Okay.
And the boy.
Oh, right. Okay, so we have the male patron. Go ahead.
His name is Watkington. He went to the Marca Capital School, and he went to the CSS from high school.
All right, you are almost there, but not quite there yet. So we're going to have to let you think about it for a second. In fact, it has to be a second. And if you can get back in, you can call. If not, sorry, I'll have to just share the information. All right, so callers, viewers, we are looking for the names of the patrons and which high school they attended. And we're also looking at the categories for the events this weekend. This is the last caller that we'll be able to take. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
The name of the patron is Makita Challenger. She went to Gingerland Secondary, and McCleveland Watkins went to CSS.
All right, so I'm sorry, it's not correct. I'll have to share the answer out, and I hope to still see you all at the meet. Both athletes were students of the Gingerland Secondary School. Makeda Challenger, she attended the St. James Primary School, and then she went to GSS. And McClevin Watkins, he went to Mudcross, and then he went to GSS. And so we were looking for the high school information. So congratulations to those who were able to win the tickets. For the rest of you, we look forward to seeing you at the Nevis Athletic Stadium over the course of the weekend. Have a wonderful week, one and all.
With all the power